Yeah, hello everyone. Today I would like to discuss about keywords, variables, constants in C language. So this topic I feel very important for the beginners who are willing to learn C programming because I have seen many students they often confuse between keywords, variables, and constants in C programming. And one more thing, before you start up writing the programs, you are supposed to go through the definitions and the details about these three basic fundamental concepts in C language. So let us see what are the keywords first. So in fact you can see on screen keywords are I say these are also called as sometimes reserved words. Reserved words. What it means, um, if you write a C program, end of the day the C program has to be compiled by the compiler. So if you write C program, say add.c, you supply this to the C compiler, cc add.c in Linux environment. So what happens, the compiler will translate this high level language program into low level language program that will be available by default in a.out. So when the compiler is translating this program in high level language to low level language, so inside the program, the compiler will be knowing the meaning of certain words directly. Those words we call them as keywords. Say if somebody want to define the keyword, I said it is a reserved word, so whose meaning is already been explained to the compiler, means compiler knows the meaning of these words directly, so it can convert these keywords directly to low level language because the meaning of these words already known to the compiler, explained has been explained to the compiler. Fine. So that is the reason why if you say int x, being int is a keyword, so what to do, compiler knows. So x is a integer variable, and if it is a say 64-bit compiler, so for x the compiler will allocate 4 bytes of memory, and it is been defined as integer, it accepts only integer values. So these kind of things happen so inside the program straight away by looking at the keywords. Okay, these are the reserved words. In fact, C language supports, you can see there are 32 keywords in C. So these keywords are listed here, you can see on screen.
Atto, break, kiss, car, cans, continue, default, do, double, else, enum, extern, float, fur, goto, if, int, long, register, return, shut, sign, side off, static, struct, switch, tidyf, union, unsigned, wild, volatile, while.
Yeah, you can see these are the 32 keywords. In fact, if you could able to know the meaning of all these words, however the meaning of all these words already known to the compiler, so compiler can understand directly if you write them in the program. But if you could able to know the meaning of this 32 keywords, that's more enough, you can write almost any program in C language. So as and when the keywords comes into the picture, we will talk about this, but in brief, if you want to just let me tell you the overview. So the auto keyword is basically used to define the storage classes, and break to break the control flow of execution. A case is used in switch case to execute the block of statements written in the case. Char is a data type, const is used to define the constants inside the program. Continue use used to uh, transfer the control from the place where it is encountered to the beginning of the loop. Default is used to implement the switch statement, and do is used to define the do while loop. Double is a data type. So else is a conditional keyword. It will be used in combination with if. Enum is used to assign the names to the numbers. Extern is again storage class. Float is data type. For is a loop control statement. Goto is used to transfer the control from the place to either in the forward direction or in the backward direction when program is under execution. If is a conditional statement. Int again it's a data type. Long is a data type. Register is storage class. Return is used to return something when you define user defined function. So the function will perform certain task, and end of the function it may return some value to the caller. Short is used to define the data type. Signed is used to define the sign. For example, if you say int x can take positive and negative values. It could be -3 or +3. If you want to restrict the domain of the x, you can write like this. So by default it is signed. In fact, means a sign is attached. And if you want to restrict the domain only for the positive values, so you can write unsigned, say int x. So unsigned is also there. You can see this is also data type. So unsigned int x means you can give only positive values. Negative values are not allowed. Size of is used to know the size of the data type. For example, if you want to know size of so int, how much memory is allocated, so you can write like this. So you can get, if it is 32 or 64-bit compiler, it could be 4 bytes. And then struct is used to define user defined data type. Switch is used to define the case control statements. If you somebody want to define new data type from the existing data type, you can use type def. Union is also used to define the user defined data types. Void means nothing. In fact, sometimes the function performs certain task but it won't return any value. In such case, the return could be void. Volatile is a keyword normally used to define variables inside the program that are normally modified by the programs or the instructions outside the program. So while is a loop. So this is volatile is some important case. If you want, I will discuss. For example, you can see if you write int x. Okay, so x is equal to 3, you can say x is equal to say x plus 10. What happens now if these two instructions to get executed on CPU, say CPU will fetch the x value into the register R1, say x is equal to 3, and then it performs the it adds the 10 to x, and say it will keep the result as 13, let it be R2, and the value of R2 will be assigned to x here. That happens, means variable is getting updated. So whenever you want to update the variable, the processor what it will do is it will fetch the variable into the CPU registers, and then it will update. But there are cases we will restrict the copying the variable into CPU registers before it updates. So how do you can do this is, so I can write volatile say int x is equal to 3. So if I say x is equal to even x plus 10, so CPU, in fact CPU won't take this value into CPU registers, because when I say volatile, some variable as a volatile, in fact the possibility that x is getting modified from the outside of the program is more. The program, if it may be in the network or people are working on common project. So for example, if this is say this is say I.c program, say hello.c, somewhere else may be also modifying the x value. So that is the reason why. So if CPU brings this x value 3 into CPU registers, for example, if it takes into the CPU registers, and hello.c may update the value. So prior to CPU updates x as x plus 10, so somebody outside the program also can update the variable. In such case, CPU will miss the updated variable while it updates x is equal to x plus 10. So that is the reason why, to restrict the variables which are normally updated outside the program, so those are declared as volatile, such that the program, when it is under execution, CPU will not fetch those variables into CPU registers. Okay, whenever the updation is there, then only it will read the value of x. So that's what you can see, the keywords, something about the keywords. Okay, these are very important words everybody has to remember. So if you could remember all these keywords, that would be nice. Then what is variable in fact? So let me tell you. uh, Variables say int x, or it could be char x or float x. Yes or no? So we say x is a variable. What it means, x is a variable? So variables are primitive, basic, fundamental elements of any C program. So variable, I can say it is an entity whose value may change during the execution of C program. The execution of C program. Am I right? Fine. Or else I can say, when you declare this x as a variable, in fact I said earlier, so being float is keyword, the compiler knows the meaning of this, so it will allocate the memory. So imagine, um, this is the RAM. So RAM is divided into number of bytes. Let it be, say like this. So this first one is, imagine that 0th byte, and let it be a 1024th byte. Fine. So when you declare these variables, memory must be allocated somewhere else in the memory. So maybe, for example, say for x, imagine, let me change this color. For x, you can imagine that, say, this memory location, this complete 4 bytes of memory is given to x, imagine. So somewhere else y, memory for y is given, it could be y, like this. So in that sense, how do you define a variable? So I can say that a variable, yeah, is an entity, or I can say variable is a name given to memory location. That way also you can define name given to memory location. Fine. So it's quite easy to understand the concept of variables, but only the point is, naming the variables. Often engineering students, they feel difficulty. So let us see, how do you name variables in the program? Naming variables. There are certain rules everybody has to remember. So for example, naming an individual. So for example, name of a student. So we assign only alphabets as part of the name. In the similar way, when you want to name variables inside the program, there are certain rules. In fact, in C, the first and foremost thumb rule to naming the variable is, the variable must start variable name must start with an alphabet. What does it mean? So if you say int, it could be abc, but it is okay. Or it could be int abc, it is okay. But if I say int, say hash abc, it is wrong. Int, say 1ab, it is wrong. The point says variable name must start with an alphabet. And next is, no special symbol. No special symbol must be used as variable name except underscore, except underscore, underscore. What does it mean? In fact, say you can write int, say sum of two numbers. Okay, you say sum of two numbers. It is wrong. Space is not allowed as part of the variable name. How do you say it? Int sum. You can use underscore of 2. This is okay. This is okay. And just now we have seen the variable names. You should not assign uh, keyword name as a variable name. So keyword name should not be given, should not assigned as variable name. What it means? What does it mean? So I say int if. I cannot say because if is a keyword. Okay, keyword name should not be given as a variable name. One more thing is any keyword in any programming language, keyword follows. If you write a keyword, it always follows space. Remember, follows space. Means you cannot write now. See int prime. Prime is a variable. It is wrong. So int follows space. Of course, but see the numbers can be part of the name, but the variable name should not start with a number. What does it mean? Say int a12. It is okay. It is a variable name, but it cannot be int 1a2. It cannot be a variable name because variable should start with an alphabet. Numbers can be part of the variable name, and no more special symbols are allowed except underscore. Underscore is accepted. Okay, keyword name should not be assigned as variable names. These are the various ways. And what could be the maximum length of a variable? In fact, if you are using 64-bit compiler, there is no limitation for the length of the variable name, but the suggested length is 63 characters long. What does it mean? So better to keep the short variable name short so that the readability of the program can be increased. So I say int, say if I write like this a b c d e f g h I 1 2 3 3 4 5 7 6 7. Okay, this is a valid variable name, but how do you use it? Is usage of this variable, assigning values, accessing the variables, printing this variable. C, so too difficult. And the variable names are case sensitive in C. Means that if you say int x and if you write int capital X, both are different. So both are not same. So these are the some points everybody is expected to know about the variables. And at last, let me talk about the constants. As you know, we are already aware about the variables. Constant is an entity whose value does not change during the execution of the program. What does it mean? We have integer constants, okay, and real constants. We have real constants. Integer. What are the integer constants? You can write 1, 2, 3, all integers. Real constant 1.1, 2.4. Because these are the values. Once they are assigned, you cannot change the value of a constant. Okay, character constants are there. So how do you write? A, B. Of course, you have string constants. How do you write? Within the double quotes, you need to write the string hello, like this. In computer programming, we have also octal constants. The numbers which are prefixed with 0, 34, 09, we say them are octal constants. In fact, we also deal with hexadecimal constants. So we talk about the number system, then we will experience all these. So they are prefixed with 0x, 0x12, 0x99, all these are. So what does a constant means? In fact, if you say int x, x is a variable, but variable is always assigned with value, say say 3 or 30. So here x is a variable and 30 is a constant. And even if you want this x value should not be changed during the execution of the C program, you can keep this as a constant by using the keyword const. You can say int x is equal to 30. Later on you cannot change the x value. If you add x is equal to x plus 10, compiler will not accept, says that x is being declared as a constant. You cannot do that. But here it is okay, because being it is a normal variable, you can say x is equal to x plus 10. It is okay. So to make the variables as a constant, one way of doing is you can use const keyword. Of course, we also use some preprocessed directives or macros to make certain variables as a constant. If I say, maybe probably we talk about the macros later on, but they could be like this: as defined, pi is 3.14. So if you are calculating the area of a circle, say pi star r star r. So pi is a constant now. So this value is replaced with 3.14, that we will see when we discuss the macros. So two ways of doing variable values as constants: applying the keyword const, and also you can define them as macros. That's it from my side. Okay, so in the next tutorial I will be talking about data types and operators. That's it.